wonder how many of you have ever felt stuck, or maybe not stuck as much as left behind. Like maybe you get a Facebook notification, or I don't know, Instagram. If you do Instagram, I'm not an Instagram guy, but if you are, maybe you get some kind of notification that somebody got a big new job or a promotion, or maybe they're getting married, or they had a baby, or maybe their kids are doing the same kind of thing where they're having a baby and you're about to be grandkids and it's super exciting stuff. But then you look at your own path, and maybe you're not as far along as they are. Or maybe the path that they chose is one that you wanted to begin with, and you're not on that path anymore, and you change things up. And you're kind of starting to feel a little bit left behind. And it's a normal feeling. It really is. It's something that many of us experience, and you want to be happy for those people. You really are happy for those people, but it does cause you to kind of sit back and be like, I should be much further along or on a different path than I'm on right now. And you start to wonder why your life doesn't look exactly like theirs. Maybe why you aren't further along, why your timeline is a little messed up from where theirs is, I guess, in comparison. And I can tell you right now that to me, it's a very much like a keeping up with the Joneses sort of a thing. And it's been my experience really that comparison is like the thief of joy. Like, you can really or the thief of joy and the thief of clarity. When you start comparing your life to somebody else's, it's really difficult, especially if you're comparing it on social media. That's just a nightmare because really what you're doing is you're comparing what you see behind the scenes from your own life with their highlight reel. And of course, the behind the scenes is never as good as their highlight reel. So, you start to feel this left behind moment, and there's this pressure that keeps it creeping in for you to perform better, perform differently, or then you start questioning your choices and stuff like that. So, I don't think that that's the right way to go. I think again, if you look at your behind the scenes versus their highlight reel, you're really missing the point. And you're going to start. There's a lot of anxiety that's going to come from that, and there's going to a lot of be an issue, going to be, excuse me, a lot of issues that you're going to deal with as it relates to that. So, from a coaching perspective, I want you to think about three questions. As always, are three questions that hopefully are powerful to you. The first question is going to be, what timeline are you following that isn't actually yours? So if you're comparing yourself to somebody else's timeline, well, then that isn't reasonable. You have to have your own timeline. I would say, what are you comparing, or what does your timeline look for yourself? If you establish a strategic goal, or you've established a goal for yourself with an appropriate timeline, what does it look like? Are you running behind that timeline? And if you are, then maybe you need to take a closer look at your timeline and your strategy and the things that you're accomplishing. But if you're comparing to somebody else's timeline, well, that doesn't make any sense. That's their timeline. Okay. The next thing I would say, ask is, what would your life look like if you define success on your own terms? And this is a big question. It's one that I've talked about with a lot of people. Is how do you define success, first of all? And what does your life look like if you were to say, this is what success looks like to me, right? Because success looks differently to other people. Somebody else might have big house, boat, cars, things like that, but that might not be your version of success. So you have to figure out for yourself what your life would look like in comparison to your own definition of success. And you have to define success for yourself, and don't let other people define success for you. And then the last question I would ask is just what's one small thing that you can move forward for just for you? Maybe something you could do this week, just something really small. Like, don't think that you're um, trying to accomplish the world, accomplish the goal in one fell swoop. You want to look at it from the perspective that you are staying within your timeline, within your goal set. But maybe the jump start, the one quick thing you can accomplish in the next week or so is something that can recalibrate, reboot your timeline a little bit. So think about those things. Consider what your timeline looks like compared to your own timeline, not or how you're doing rather in your own timeline, not somebody else's, and define your success your own way. And ask yourself, what does your life look like when you define success your way? Okay. So the email down at the bottom that you're seeing now is for you guys. If you have ideas that you want to ping off of me, you can certainly email me. Or if you want to get on here and chat with me about something and you have an idea for a topic, I'd love to hear it. As always, have a great day, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye.